All right, we got Blaze on the line. He is a author of a amazing children's book that can be used with children and even adults. So I'm gonna let him go ahead and tell you a little bit about his book. Go ahead, Blaze. You got the air.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for inviting me to the African American Arts Association live today. I'm Blaze. My full name is Blaze Mounga, and I'm a children author, and then I reside in Canada, around Montreal. So, yeah, I'm glad to be here with you. Um, I'm an author. So far, I have two books, two children books published in two languages, so English and French. My first language is French, but I speak English also. So I try to work in both languages, and then yeah, I mean I started in the world of authors. Last year, like in 2022, but I had written before, not books, but some other things. So yeah, I mean, it's cool, to be able to share that passion with other people and talk about it this afternoon.
Great, great. Tell me about the book that you have written, the book you have out there. Public, tell me a little bit about that book and your inspiration behind the book.
Well, I worked with kids, like, in the past. I worked with kids, in summer camps. I sit on the board of some organization that promote education. I also volunteer for other youth organizations. So I've been around kids, quite a lot. And throughout the years, I kind of observed their behavioral skills, and I really wanted to put that, in a book and share that in an amusing way, right? To share what are the great behavioral skills, what we commonly call soft skills, that kids can use to develop themselves and just become a better person. So it's my own experience that I had in the past, for the past, I would say, 20 years, around with kids, that made me want to push more, and then write my stories down, basically.
Okay, I totally understand. And that makes great sense. Working with the children um, made you inspired you to write this book, and I totally understand. I work with children a majority of my life, and I don't understand how seeing children can inspire you to do great things. So, how long have you been creating the art that you create your books or whatnot?
How long? I think it's been like, I write since I'm like a teenager, basically. Okay, writing book was not my first passion, but writing was. Okay, when I was younger, I used to write songs and poems, right? That's how I started. I wasn't thinking about books, and then it wasn't in my mind that I can publish a book and then set it out there. But it was more about my passion for writing. So as a young man, I was writing poems and also songs. Um, I was a lot into rap, so I wrote rap. Created my own rap. That I was rapping to, and then used to write poems as well. I loved at the time. I really loved like rhymes. So anything that rhymed, was very fun for me. I was trying to be like creative like about it. But in my later age, I thought about, writing books also, because, I think I had like a lot of writings, and I told myself, why don't I condense them, like, into a book? I say that I write poems. I have over 100 poems that I've written. Most of them are in French, but at some point I thought about, why not putting them, in a, poetry book or something like that. I never did it, but I always uh, thought about it, and then I started writing for books, but I never published them. So I wrote more books than I have published so far. So I still have some, some, I could call it like some, you know, back backlog. If I want to publish like 2 or 3 more books, I have the content and the material for that, because for a very long time I wrote without, really having the intention to publish them. And then I think one reason for that, it was because I didn't want to go through the whole journey of, a publishing house, and things like that. It sound, or it looked very complicated for me, going through a publishing house, and things like that. I didn't want to, spend or may even waste time, on that, knowing that it was very, very, very difficult, to get into there. You have to, submit your manuscript a certain way, different ways, and then wait for months, if not years, to get an answer, whatever. I didn't want to go through that. So when I, knew that, there was a way to do stuff like digitally, and, mostly by yourself, because I'm a little bit like tech savvy, so I'm okay with that. So this was like, okay, this is my occasion to publish books actually. So I jumped into that, self-authoring thing, and then that's how, I finally got my books to come out, right? So.
Great, great. I also self-published my book, so I understand how that feels to see work, come to reality. All the mind power turn into an actual book. So I
Ab-
totally understand how that feels.
Absolutely.
So, as your artist, what is your ultimate goal? What's the ultimate goal you have as an artist?
Um, my ultimate goal will be to, well, sell a lot of book, but most importantly, impact, people, because, my canvas, like when I write, it's about soft skills, right? Whether it's be leadership, teamwork, effective speaking, resilience, community service. My goal is to impact people, to impact children and their parents, their educators, on the soft skills that I'm trying to promote. So the impact portion, it's very, very, very important to me, because I know for sure that, it changes, people's perspectives, not only kids but also adults, because trust me, there's a lot of adults that are reading my book or purchase it for themselves. And when I read the comments of the different buyers, and then you can tell that, parents enjoy it as much as their kids. So and that's a big reward for me, when I see or realize that, there's that impact, because that's what I'm working for. So impacting people, regardless of their age, because, as adults, we learn a lot from kids as well, and we learn from other adults. So I'm trying to make it impactful, and then, it's a great reward when I hear that, it has impacted one person in in a way or another way.
Right, and I totally understand that you want to impact someone through your art, and that's and I think that's most artists. reason for creating the art that they create, digital or whether it's writing or music impact someone. So I totally do agree, understand with what you're saying there.
Absolutely.
So if you could choose any artist to collaborate with, whether it's music or writing or how, who would
Um, I mean, I do not have that, one person in mind that, I absolutely want to collaborate with. I'm taking my art like in a very simple way. I can collaborate with, anybody. I can collaborate with, other authors. I can collaborate with you, Josh. I can collaborate with Gloria, Carrie, the other people that I met,
you?
on this forum, any other authors, I can collaborate with kids, with children, like, in helping me to, like, inspiration to write my books, or actually from a live story that I saw, kids, acting. Or invite them to write, the book, with me. Because for me, it is more about passion, okay, and then if we have I mean, as soon as the collaborator have the same passion as myself, I think that we can create something, whether it's a musician, whether it's a poet or a dancer or whatever. I think that we can create something. I consider what I do today good or great, and I appreciate my own work as well. So I think that it's it's whoever shares that those same values. I think that it will be so easy to work with them and create something. And sometimes collaborations with, like, two unknown people can give something like a big thing out there, right? So no, for me it's not about a name or person that I have in mind that I absolutely want to work with, but any person that if we share like the same values, the same vision, and I think that we can produce something. In one of my I remember when I started writing for sale. One of my friend, who's also like an author, told me, like, why don't you invite kids to write the book with you. And I found like it was a very good idea, to have kids around, or even to tell your story before publishing it and have their input, right? So it's like a co-creation, like you and the kids. And for me, I never did it because I've already written, like, all my stuff. But for me, it's still like a way to collaborate. You can collaborate with these unknown people that can add that little flavor to your book or to your piece of art that makes it extraordinary. So I mean, yeah, I'm open for collaboration from anyone, anywhere.
That's great. The great thing about collaborating is that every person's mind is different. So that's what makes a great collaboration, that everyone has a different mind. So those minds joining together can always create something awesome. So it's great that you're able to collaborate with anyone and willing to collaborate with anyone. So tell me about your favorite piece of your own, whether it's published or not, your favorite piece of your own artwork.
uh Well, actually, at the moment, it's the my last book. When you're an author, you always try to do better, right? So from a book to another one, you improve like a lot of stuff. The writing, the how it's outlined, the presentation, pretty everything. At the same time, you improve yourself as a person, right? Because you gain skills, you gain to learn, what is the market out there and what does the market want. So you basically adapt yourself, to that market. And when you move to that next book, maybe you don't realize it, but you've grown up as a person. Like, you learn more because you grown up. You did stuff differently, in a better way. So that's what I feel like, when I publish my second book, which is kids and public speaking. You know, this is really what I felt like, when I published this book, because it was more everything that I that I wanted in that. And then sometimes I sit down and read my own things, and then I'm happy, like, to see the result of of that hard work, because what authors will tell you is that they spend evenings and nights and days and evenings and nights and days, on their on their work, until they are satisfied of it. So I'm particularly proud about that. But the moment, the critical moment, is when you publish it out. Okay, then you say, okay, at this point, I clicked on publish, or allowed it to be published, and it's out there. I mean, and then I'm opening myself to the world, right? So, and people, the world is going to see, what I did, what I made, what I wrote. And it's a little bit like, landing, like when you taking a plane and then you land to your destination. That's what the authoring journey is like. When you land is when you click on the publish button, and then you put yourself, okay, here I am, go and look what I did, open to critiques, open to comments, and all that. And I think it's an exciting moment, and I felt it, more like when I published my latest book, which is called Kids and Public Speaking.
Okay, I totally understand. And like you said, landing, I totally understand, because once you push that publish button, you feel accomplished. So you
Absolutely. Absolutely.
mission, their goal. So I totally understand and get everything that you're saying, and that's great. So what would be your dream project? Your dream project?
um I'm thinking at the moment it's com- at some point, in my authoring career, compile everything that I did to make it, a sort of like a bigger book, because I'm specialized, like, in soft skills, in behavioral skills. And then each of my book, talk about, one of them, or mostly one of them. And then I think that, later on, I can either collaborate with somebody that, also talks about, skills, to make, a joint effort to have something, condense, something bigger, as a Bible, for example. That, because, those soft skills, they always need to be combined to really have a real effect, right? Like in my teamwork book, at the end I will talk about, leadership. For example, in my leadership book, I will talk about, public speaking or effective speaking, because we need that in leadership. And they are all tied together. And then I would like, at some point, to have, just one book about, all these soft skills, and then kind of not merge them, but really tie them together, so that they make a whole sense for an individual that wants to know about all the different behavioral skills that they can acquire, or that they already have in them but they don't know how to expose them or to use them. This is what I'm thinking about. Also, I mean, I'm very creative, so if I have the chance to to chat, for example, like with a singer, we can have like I don't know, singing written night, or I don't know, whatever. So it's just crazy in my head. I can't express it, but it's definitely something that we can materialize, and then and then showcase, playing piano while singing while reading a book, for example, or parts of a book, or a kind of a concert, that we can even have it online, or people playing guitar while we do that, or singing, or whatever, trying to um, merge different kinds of arts, like together, and then showcase something interesting. So I'm very creative, but also very open, and then it never stop thinking, and never stop working out your ideas. At this time, I'm only working on my solo books, that I'm writing. Um, I want to publish at least those that I've written so far, before changing the path. But there's a big room for joint projects.
Right, right. And I understand that sounds great. So let me ask you this. Tell me why you think art is important to society.
Um, well, it's very important because there's not everybody express themselves the same way, right? People express themselves differently. Okay. Sometimes we say, okay, people don't go to voting, for example, but why they don't go to vote? Okay, maybe they don't vote, but they would express themselves differently. Sometime in classroom, like there are some students that will never raise their hand up. So why do they do that? I don't know, but they have a different way of expression. Um, Even silence is a way of expression. Like when you're silent, you're still saying something, but differently. So for me, arts is just a way of expression for different people. Some people express themselves through words, through talk, through TV. Some other is through drawing, through painting, through singing, etc. That's how they pass their messages, basically. So it is important because not we are not all the same. People are different. We are a diverse society, and we have to respect how people like to express themselves. There's no one way of thinking, there's no one way of expressing themselves. Like in certain communities, like when we were younger, if you draw or paint or do something that was not considered in the regular path or whatever, you really look like a dumb or an idiot, or a strange person, which is not really the case, because there are different ways of to express yourself, and that's where arts come into place. It has to stay there, because some people have handicaps, and then they cannot express themselves the way people would like to, but they would express themselves different. But even if they don't have an handicap, they still want to express themselves differently. So it is good that art is there. It's good that we have associations like just like this one to promote art, to discover talents as well, because we really need it, and then for some people it's a passion, and it's a dimension of their life where they feel free, to express. You're probably not free, like, when you have an employer and then you work this shift from this time to that time, but after that, on your free time you can express yourself the way you want. That's where you gain your own liberty, your freedom, around that. And then, arts is very important, just like, any other way of expression today.
Right, I totally agree. Arts, sports, to me, they run hand in hand. A lot of people love sports and they express themselves through sports. Some people express themselves
Absolutely.
exactly.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely,
your,
absolutely. That's
also, your books also teach a person how to act in society. So, that's something else I want to. Your books have a great message behind them.
Thank
Let me
you.
ask you this. No problem. So, let me see. What inspirational message would you leave to someone who is going to follow the same path of art as yourself?
Um, that's a good question. That's a really good one. Um, I'll talk for me, and I think what helped me a lot is that the passion dimension was bigger than everything else, because I didn't think about, doing being a bestseller or something like that, even if it's very great and rewarding. The dimension of passion should be, big enough for you to, go through the whole thing, because authoring is not an easy thing. Like, when you see a book out there, it's hours and hours of work, right? So if you don't have that passion, and I think that you can easily give up, because some phases are more complicated than others. So make sure you have the passion, and then also it's more than the money, than the dollar that you're looking after that. As I said earlier, I'm not a bestseller, but I'm very proud of my books. I'm very proud of the impact, that they have on the people that, who read it. Probably someday I'll become bestseller, maybe in a few weeks, in a few months, I don't know. But for me, it's more about, what the book does to people, why they buy it for, what they gain out of it. It's very important. Also, whoever, jumps into the authoring world has to be patient. It takes a lot of time, to write a book, because we make mistakes, we want to correct, and you will not correct once, you correct twice, three times, four times, five times, and when you think it's ready, you're still going to find things to correct. And then, when people do the proofreading, you're still going to find that. So it's like, continuous development, and continuous growth, even for the authoring, and that requires patience, because, at any phase you can decide that, it's too much and you would want to drop, but when you see the result, I think that's when you're proud of all what you accomplish. And then do not hesitate, to go to people, to look for help, because especially like in the self authoring world, where we are all, independent, it requires like a lot of skills. Like, you have some computer skills, being able to work with, softwares or different tools, that allow you to make things quickly, right? And if you don't know them, don't hesitate to go to people that do know them or master them, so that they can help you go quicker. Otherwise, you'll spend, days and days and weeks, on something that's maybe simple for another people. Something in my case that helped me a lot, it's like, having my brothers reviewing my book. My brothers are instrumental in my authoring thing. They always want to see what I'm doing, and then they are my first, filter and proof, and then they say this doesn't sound right, change this and whatever. So today, like, once I'm done with my book, the first person that I send it to my brothers, so that they can go through it and say, okay, Blaze, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't make sense. And you know what, sometimes because I write in French as well, and then French is a universal language, but it's not spoken the same way, in Canada as in France. So my brother would tell me that that French is too Canadian, make it a little bit international, make it a little bit understandable by French people, or still like same thing, like in when I write in English, sometimes I will rephrase stuff so that Americans can get it easily, and stuff like that. So all those nuances of thing, I mean, you got to get help from people, right? Because if for you, if it's just you, you will think that it's perfect, where when it's out there and other eyes see it, there could be stuff that can be modified, for better reading, stuff like that. It's not that what you did was wrong, but there's always better manners, like better ways to present things, right? So yeah, passion, patience, and then you'll see what comes after. But regardless of the outcome, be proud of what you do.
That's great. And you mentioned that you send your material, your work to your brothers before you do anything. And it's kind of the same with me. I send my materials to my mother. So I'm like, here, mother,
Oh.
book, finish with it. Let me know what you think. So I understand. I think a lot of that will want to review. I have about 8 or 9 out, and my mother always review each book before I put it out. Just to make sure
That
approval.
and,
I
and
have
you know what's great about that, Josh? What's great about that is, like, it's the people that will tell you the exact truth, right? Because some other people can try to please you, but they will tell you the exact truth, what makes sense and what doesn't make sense.
right.
And then when it comes from them, you know that you really have to take it seriously, because they're not trying to hide or to mask anything or to cover anything, or they're not trying to please you. They tell you what how it is, and then you have to take it seriously.
Yes. So let me ask you this question. So if you could choose any place in the world to take a vacation to let your creative juices flow, where would that be?
Okay, I wouldn't have one place, okay, and I'll tell you what, but I have a type of place,
Okay.
right? Okay, yeah. So, and then when I'm by the water, anywhere by the water, like a sea, a beach, by the water, I really feel creative. Whether if I'm inside or outside. Let's say in a hotel or in a house where there's a view on a river or the ocean, the sea, a beach. Then I really feel inspired, and the flow. it really flows, at that time. I remember a couple of the poems, like not even the books that I've written, like big parts were done, like next to next to water, in some way. I remember going to Thousand Island. There's a city in Ontario here called Thousand Island. It's really it shares the same border as on the U.S. And I took a boat, like on a little boat cruise. It's called Gananoque. Okay, I took a boat, and then on that same boat, I wrote like a poem. And my other trip, when I went to Niagara Falls, Ontario, because on the other side you can see the state of New York. Actually, the other side it's Buffalo, right? Because it's at the border of the states in Canada. And I was sitting there, and then I, just throw something, like not one page, but maybe two good pages, of text or whatever. So inspiration was, there right away. Even parts of my books, I remember the places where that inspired me a lot. It's like when I'm close to water. So I don't have like a destination, but if I'm close to water, then my brain my brain goes on. So.
Okay, I understand. So you love being around the water.
But I don't like to be in the water though. Like I because I can't swim, so I just want to be by the water.
Well, I love being by the water. I don't in the water too much as well. I do love being by the water also. So, Blaze, how can people find you and your books, such as social media outlets or marketing outlets or outlets to sell your platforms?
Great question. I have my books are available on Amazon, so you can do a search either by my name or my book titles, and then you will find me. Um, they're available on Amazon, and then maybe Josh, we can also share the links on this live if people wants to I'll send you two links. Okay, so if people want to look at them, those are the I just sent them in the chat.
Okay, I'll make sure they get into the comments as well.
Yeah. Well, actually, I put them in the comments, so people can look at it. Also, you can join my Facebook page. My publishing brand, it's Kid Competence. Like you can see here, like on my T-shirt, Kid Competence. So you go on Facebook.com/Kid Competence, and then you are on my page. So you would see all my posts, my notes, what's coming out, my different the books that are already released, and so on. So, yep.
And go ahead and show us what's in your public speaking book that you have. Let's see it one more time. So everyone can see that book. Let's go ahead and see that book
Oh,
again.
yeah.
All
So
right,
I
this
don't know if it's
everyone can go out
yeah,
and check out the book. It has a very, very, very great lesson in it. It's teaching you how to speak in public for
yeah,
everyone. So
yeah. They are very colorful, and it's it's written in both languages, and then and I'm sure like everybody can like this, especially kids or people that want to be able to express themselves easily and make themselves heard, because speaking is not only about the voice or the words that you say, but also the attitude, the gesture, the tone of your voice, and all that is in this little book, Kids and Teamwork. Also good for adults that really like it. So yeah, feel free to go and check out my books on Amazon or on my Facebook page, facebook.com/Kid Competence.
all righty. Well, thank you again for coming all the way from Canada to speak with us here in the United States today. Thank you so much. And I'll definitely be with you and we'll be doing some stuff together soon, I'm sure.
Oh, no problem, no problem. Well, thanks for having me. And then, well, we keep in touch. And then, yeah, if there's anything, let me know. Thanks a lot, and thanks to all the people that view this live.
All right, thanks everyone. You all have a great evening.
Thank you. Cheers.